So was there like a mantra or something like, because like when you were at your lowest, maybe feeling resentful to the soldier that you helped, or fed up and so on, and maybe suffering from PTSD or any of these sort of things. What was it that made you snap in and start listening to your heart and soul and think, I need to come back? Especially like when your parents and friends were maybe saying, should you go back? Should you leave? Especially when you have that level of initial resistance from family who look out for you, but they're giving you that kind of feedback saying, no, no, we want you safe and well. How do you sort of switch off that? Because like you were saying earlier about running towards gunfire, because that can be taught to a certain level. But do you
Mhm.
think special forces soldiers are born with this, or can it be taught? Is there a mantra you would use to anybody listening that could learn to do that to a certain level?
Yeah, a lot of great stuff here too as well. I'll start off with kind of where you ended. Do I think that good special forces operators are born? No, I would say that they are created, and it's predominantly based on skill, um, coupled with character traits, personality traits, etc. Talent exists, right? But my more in-depth analysis and acquisition of knowledge into the difference between talent and skill is really that, talent, being born with something, it's really not being born with the capability to do something really well automatically from the second you've been created. Talent is actually, according to a lot of data and case studies, is a more increased capacity to learn something really fast. Like, so meaning, like, you look at Michael Jordan, you could say that dude was born to be a basketball player, and which is probably
Mm.
true. But that doesn't mean that when he was in the womb and when he was 2 years old, he automatically knew how to hit free throws flawlessly. His talent was that he had a much higher capacity to learn how to shoot free throws much faster than average people. So
Mm.
talent versus skill, I would say, exists across all sectors and walks of life. So either those that are born with a higher degree of talent to be a soldier or a special forces operator, yeah, probably. But I do think it's wildly, largely, almost always skill based, and that you can create that within someone that's got the more so the mentality to go about the difficulties to become, an operator or a Green Beret. And in terms of like mantras and whatnot, or you asked about family members and their questioning what it was I was trying to do and having second thoughts, trying to be supportive because they love me and care for me and want to be in my corner, but also want us to be grounded in reality and pragmatism. Um, the way I went about doing that was I was just able to recognize pretty early on why these people that care for me or people that don't know me well were second guessing what I was doing. And for one, I knew that what I was trying to do had never been done before. So, like with anything where there's no precedence, people are like, "Is that even possible?" That's a
Mm.
fair question. But more significantly than that, I knew that that was coming from a place of love, and they were somewhat blinded, or at least they had blinders on, where all they could focus on was my well-being as a son, as a brother, as a teammate. Like that's where this second guessing would be coming from. They didn't want to see me get hurt, not only in the terms of me going back to being in combat hurt, but also failing, and then what that effect would have on me. Would that send me down this really nasty, dark, depressive road because I set my sights on something so unrealistic and I was so obsessed with it that if I failed, what would that do to my overall wellness? So I was able to grasp onto their reasoning pretty early on. Therefore, one, I didn't hold any resentment towards them, but I knew that I was going to be the only one on the planet that had the level of clarity in my vision that I did. It was mine. And I could explain it and communicate it to as many people as possible, as thoroughly as possible, but it's mine to own. This is yours. And one of the costs of ambition is being misunderstood. And that's just part of that process. You have to have a willingness to accept criticism and feedback from those that you respect, but also own the fact that this is your life and your mission. And the only limitations really are the ones that we place on ourselves. So I was able to maintain relationships with those that I cared about and take in their advice, but also concurrently know that, hey, this is what I'm doing. I am completely committed to this thing regardless. Thank you. I love you. But I got things I got to do. I'm gonna keep going.
Because it is a difficult thing to mean. You know they mean well, but you have to sort of say yes. But I'm looking at this without the emotion. They're there to protect you, and sometimes it can override, like you're saying, their understanding of what you want in life. And if you have a strong enough mission, you can override this.